Hey guys, it's Christina. Welcome back to My House in Bali episode number 3. Today I thought I would talk about the whole leasing process here in Bali and also give you some tips for you as a foreigner if you want to rent long term. So if you guys are interested in this type of video, make sure you like and join the family. All right, so let's start with the first thing. Most important thing that you need to know before you rent long term here in Bali, you need to know the Balinese laws. So here in Bali, as a foreigner, you cannot technically own land. What they do is they have lease agreements, so long-term lease agreements that can go up to 30 to 50 years, and then you'll have the ability to renew. So yes, technically if you look at it, yes, I'm renting for 30 years. Yeah, technically I own it, but I guess this is the law so that the land always goes back to the Indonesian people. That is how it's set up. So when you guys see things that are listed as freehold, owner, long-term lease, just be aware and talk to a lawyer if you need to know more information about that, because sometimes the laws are changing. So I don't want to say that this is set in stone, but this is what it's been so far. So I think it's important to be aware of that. Now, as a foreigner, if you want to rent long-term, there are different ways to do it. You can go by a company. You can also contact a local directly. But I think it's very important for you to find somebody that is trustworthy, because there are people that are renting land here or renting stuff here and it's not their property. So be very aware of the scams. Before I continue, I want to share a little bit of my experience personally with this house. If you guys are new to the channel, if you haven't seen the whole process, I basically moved from Canggu to Denpasar, which is the capital of Bali, and from a 1-bedroom to a 3-bedroom house. So it's so exciting for me and I'm so grateful for this place. But I do think it's important to share the whole process of leasing a place, because it's not as easy, or as it's just different. So let's get into it. So for me, like I said before, if you guys did not watch my previous video where I explained the process of getting this house, in general, one of our friends who live in this area told us that there was a property that was vacant for a year, and if we wanted to lease it, she can get in contact with the owners. She got in contact with the owners after us seeing the place, and we got to meet them. They showed us the house, and then after you do that initial meeting, we had the kind of negotiation process. This is when you start talking about price, you start negotiating about things in the house. So there are going to be things that need to be fixed in most places, because this is more of a rural local house. So there are things that are not usually up to code, and those things you have to state if you need something fixed or not in your contract. So this is where the negotiation happens. It's like, could this be fixed? Could this be fixed? And if they're saying no, it's like, okay, but can you lower the price, because I need to fix this, because this is not livable for me, and so on. So you guys are going back and forth in this situation. And then after that initial process, if you guys agree on the price and all the things, you're now going to do the contract signing. So depending on who you have, if the person has already leased this house, they probably will have a contract and you'll have to just sign it, or maybe make some changes and have both parties sign it. If they've never done that before, then you have to create a contract and you have to get that contract notarized. That is something that might be different for you guys. Happened to me as well. So you have to create a contract. What I did is ask somebody that had a contract, kind of create something similar to it. And then you have to translate in 2 languages, obviously in the Bahasa Indonesia and also in English, and just make sure everything is correct. And it says the same thing on both contracts. And then obviously if you're leasing the house with furniture, without furniture, if you had agreed on certain things, make sure it's listed. Like, I'm renting this unfurnished, or I'm renting this furnished with everything included, electricity, everything, or I'm renting this with nothing. It needs to be clear, precise. And once if you had to do it yourself, you have to get it notarized and then sign both on the dotted line. If you had it before, then you just sign, you guys agree on it. And then after that, for us, is when we had to basically at this point wait for them to do the renovations. So I'm going to show you guys some clips of them fixing this place, but there was so much to do, because I told you guys this house had a little bit of mold and water damage. So almost every single wall in the house needed to be scrubbed down, sanded, repainted, but also we wanted to paint with waterproof paint. But then we realized that waterproof paint is shiny. We are in a construction zone right here, but I had to show you guys what it looks like now. They're fixing this wall, and also this is the kitchen that they're fixing. And then this wall has already been patched, but just the top missing.
Well, that's a game changer. It's not moved.
Yeah.
So that's the only one in that.
Yeah. Those two get constantly wet, apparently.
Yeah, that's wet.
Yeah.
So the other one is just water damage. Yeah.
All right. Just the whole process when you think about like renovating a house. If you guys have renovated a house, let me know in the comments, because I see where things can get stressful because you think I'm just gonna go buy it. Nope. So yeah, in our kitchen there is a skylight because there's no window. The skylight was leaking and it was really bad, moldy. We had to get that completely sealed and fixed. There is a lot of work that needed to be done, and after the contract signing, this is when we gave about 20% or I think 30% of the lease that we agreed on, and with that money they fixed everything. It took them about, I would say 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks it took them to fix the house, and then we got the keys. Once we get the keys, we send, the day you get the keys, you send the final payment, and then the house is yours. There is a lot of back and forth negotiation that can happen, so that is something that you need to be aware of if you're gonna go do that. Now, one of the questions I got from you guys is, where can I find a local house or a place like this in a local area like Denpasar, away from Canggu, because I know Canggu has been getting very busy lately. So first of all, I'm going to give you guys a website that I think is very useful. Like personally, I did not use them because I told you guys that it was my friend who told me about this place. However, I did go on it and find a lot of properties, and also I feel like it's easy to contact the real estate agent through there because you can find their WhatsApp information, contact them, boom boom boom, they send you a property. So I think it's easier with that website. So the name of that website, it's Rooma123, and Rooma123, if you guys can check the area that you want to look at the prices, everything is listed there with the real estate agent. So make sure you contact the real estate agent if you like a property and tell them, hey, I am looking for a property, you know, with this price, this amount of rooms, this area, do you have any options? And then they will start looking for you. I'll definitely tell you if you're looking for more affordable places around Denpasar. I think also Sanur is probably the new up and coming area. It has really nice properties, almost like Canggu, but you're on the east side of the island, so you'll be really far away from the activities. However, you can get a really nice property and you'll have beautiful sunrise and white sand beaches. So it's like you have to decide for what you want to do and what you want to compromise for. I just want to give you guys that option because I have seen some really nice properties where I was like, oh, that's great. And like newer properties too, so they're new build, stuff like that. So just want to show you like what's available and also at a great price. Now I think it's important for me to talk about expectation versus reality when you live in a local area and also in a local house, because when you're coming from a touristy place, Canggu, you have everything that's almost exaggerated in beauty and stuff like that, you know, but it is for tourism, for vacation, like Airbnb style. Versus if you want to go live where the locals are living, it's going to be a different type of housing. So I just want to make sure you set your expectation in that way because it is different. For example, a lot of the properties here, the houses sometimes are not built up to code. For example, in most countries, every room needs to have a window in case of, you know, a fire. It's a fire hazard not to have a window in every room, right? Somewhere for you to be able to escape or to open the window to let some air out. And sometimes that's not the case in some areas. So it's something to be aware because it's not going to build as you expect. Most houses here are wall to wall with your neighbors. So this wall is the same wall that my neighbor has. This wall is the same wall to my neighbor, and this wall is the same wall to my neighbor. So only the front of the house is like the entrance and exit. There's no other ways to come in and out of the house. So it's important to be aware of that. I mean, we also live in a country that has earthquakes, and I at first was worried because I'm like, there's only one way to exit this house if there was to be an earthquake and something, God forbid, happens. Like, can I run out the house? I'm just giving you my personal thought process as I'm going through, you know, looking at the house. I did a pros and cons and looked at the space that I would get versus house issues, which I can tell you, it was something that I was apprehensive about. I had to talk about it for a long time with Ralph. So I think it's something that you have to be aware of when you're looking at places and just make the best decision for you. So this is the process of leasing here in Bali. I hope you guys got a lot of information from this. Please let me know if this was helpful, or if you have more questions, please let me know in the comments as well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.